Hello, this is CJ, and this is the Move Push Men's Group, our weekly Zoom call. And I slightly interrupted Craig and Andre discussing their trading activities and how it's valuable to keep your mind active. Um, yeah, Craig, why don't you go ahead and finish that thought, and we'll go from there.
Some of us in this group are involved in trading, different forms of trading, some crypto, some other other types of trading. And and we were just discussing the how great it is for when you're retired and you're getting older. It's really good to have things that keep you interested, keep your mind active, give you learning opportunities, videos to watch and things like that. And I've found one of the activities I started doing after I retired, and it sort of coincided with the COVID lockdown as well, started researching and learning about crypto trading. And and now, so what are we, 5, 6 years later, I'm now a coach in a company and actually earn a reasonable income. And that wasn't something that I was looking for, but it's really nice, and it gives the opportunity to, it just keeps me really quite sharp, I'm sure, because I'm without doing that, there would be very little for me to really think about all day except watch TV. Um,
Hmm.
yes, you can pot around in the garden and you can do things, but this actually stimulates me at a far deeper level, working out strategies, learning to read charts, learning to manipulate trades and all the things that go with that type of trading. And Andre, we're just talking about a style of trading, and I'm not going to go into the detail of it, but there's a system you can set up where you can do free trial trading. And so you don't even need to use money. You can actually do the activity without putting up money up front, which I think is really cool because not everyone has the money to play around. Obviously, putting money in the game, putting skin in the game makes it more viable, or more viable's not the right word, but you take a lot more notice when money's on the table. Um, More skin in the game, but yeah, just as an activity for an older person, it's really great.
All
I know you
right.
might want
Yeah,
to add something, Andre or
yeah,
CJ.
no, I totally agree with you, Greg. I mean, I'm retired 1 whole month now, man. One
Hmm.
whole month. And I said to myself, I need some kind of discipline when I get off the 9 to 5 roundhouse. And I tried to do that. I took a few weeks where I did nothing, went traveling and whatnot, but now I'm home and my day is kind of like, I get up kind of with the daylight at 7 a.m. From 7 a.m. till 8 a.m., I have my coffee time. Combine that with breakfast, combine that with meditation and quiet time. And then from 8 a.m. till about 10:30 or 11 a.m., depending on the day, I work on my um, my trading, which like you said, Craig, is for me, it's free trading, so to speak, because, well, yeah, I pay a subscription to get on this, but I'm learning and I'm being active and I'm trying to pass an evaluation. So I do that kind of religiously. And I'm doing well. I'm 2/3 of the way through my evaluation. If I pass that evaluation, then I get to the next stage of that account, and then I continue to do what I'm doing now, but then I get paid. So if I get paid, that's wonderful because not that I need to get paid, but it keeps my mind active and it keeps me involved in participating in stuff that I actually enjoy doing. So hey, that's a win. It's a win for me, and if it lines the pocketbook, even better. So, and then in the afternoons, my so far my plan has been I do projects at home. So if I'm doing, I mean, I built a pergola, I'm building a fire pit, I'm doing stuff in the backyard, and that stuff may run out eventually, but not before the winter comes. So until winter comes, I'm doing stuff outside, and that's sort of my goal. Um, but yeah, I mean, right now in the morning, the fun part for me has been just doing a little bit of trading, and I mean, it cost me $100 a month or whatever it is. To me, it's like free money and a good education, and I also joined an online group that helps me stay focused and stay real, and they have the same sort of beliefs and setups that I like. So I mean, the online community there is has been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, without
Those
without
the online communities that the trading has given me also, which also led me to this group. Um, Also, like I spend most of my day chatting with people through groups and different things that if I wasn't doing it, I probably wouldn't be talking to anyone day in, day out, except my family when they're home. Um, so it's the social interaction that I get. Sure, it's all online, or most of it's online, but it's the yeah, it's the mind, it's the social interaction. And I think all this might come up in what CJ is wanting to talk about this week anyway, as
yeah, yeah,
elements of
and
the
I did watch that video, CJ, and it was really good. And you know what? Even though I'm a married guy, and even though I am, I have totally appreciated that video because even us married guys really like stuff, that kind of content, because there's healthy stuff to be gathered from the benefits of being alone, right? So you want to take it from there, CJ. But yeah, I like that video. It was really good.
Yeah, what Andre's talking about and Craig alluded to was the video he posted a few days ago in the Telegram group. And men over 60 who live alone need to be doing the following for best health is what the note I wrote down. I don't know if that was the title of it or not, but anyway, I wrote down 5 things that I think all of us on the call right now are over 60, and most of in the group are, with maybe one or two exceptions. But um, these are good habits to have in life, and I'll list them, and then we can talk about each one individually. The one that just came up was the biology of social connection. It's important to have connections. I assume online ones count if you're communicating and using your mind and things like that. Though the authors may have more face to face in mind. But regardless, social connection is important. Morning sunlight exposure, which is something I tried to do a while ago, but got away from it. 15 to 20 minutes within 90 minutes of waking that regulates your biological clock and facilitates sleep. Another one is increased dietary protein. Should be 30% more than you consumed in your 30s. Number 3 was facilitate deep sleep to allow for cell repair and avoid Alzheimer's. And number 2, there's a loss of fast twitch muscle, and that's needed for, I wrote down explosive movement, balance, and fall recovery. So, and then the social connection we just talked about. Those were the 5 listed in the video, and there's more to discuss with each one. Um, Morning sunlight exposure. Yeah, what I was doing was I would wake up and immediately put my shoes on, get outside, walk over to 7-Eleven and buy like a bottle of water or something, and then walk back. My girl and I would do that together, and it took about 15 minutes to go there and back. But haven't done that for probably a month or two. I'd like to get back to it. Does anybody else do something like that? Just get up and step outside in the morning?
I have
I
Yeah.
started I've
Go
occasion
ahead.
started doing it since I watched the video.
Okay.
I've got a veggie garden that I'm trying to get going, and we're just coming out of winter, so it's been cold and miserable outside in the mornings. But as the weather's getting better, rather than having my coffee and doing it much later, I'm now trying to do that as the first thing I do is spend just 15, 20 minutes surveying the property, if you like, just getting outside and getting that sunlight. Yeah.
All right, cool.
And
I think
and
Paul
as the
chimed in.
summer comes on a bit
Okay.
further, I'm thinking I'll take my dog for a walk
Mm,
earlier and do that as soon as I
yeah.
get up.
I used to go downstairs to the pool to have my coffee in the morning, and then I started doing the steps, which is outside. So that was 20 minutes. But now, for the last month, I guess, since I've been here, it's been raining every day.
Mm,
So I hardly even left the house. And honestly, I don't really see much difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how long you have to do it before you do notice something being different in your life, but I've heard this from multiple sources at this point, including the video that we described, and there must be something to it.
Yeah,
There
it
was
makes it
the
helps with
video.
your clock,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I just and I was doing it. I was doing the steps for 9 months, almost a year, I guess, every morning. So
The video did say that it was men alone, and he did say that the other things can stimulate it, like the family members and other people can help set the circadian rhythms. Whereas for men on their own that just get up and they're on their own is where it has the most effect.
Hmm.
Um, but I just think, and it was also he emphasized the fact that you had to be outside in the real sun, not through a window,
Yeah.
not sitting on a phone, you know, doing watching videos or doing messages or whatever. It was just being in the sun and I guess absorbing that energy. It didn't mean you couldn't walk or do other things, but keeping your brain away from the other stimulation that devices give it.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think because in this time of year, it's really easy for me because I could grab a coffee and I can go sit outside on the patio, sort of between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. The sun's just getting up, and the light at that time of day is remarkable. It's wonderful. But I mean that, and that's now. And I've not been doing that. I've just been doing that for the last week or so, and it's wonderful. I mean, I feel better throughout the day because I'm just more alert through the rest of the day because I did that. But I know I'm going to have challenges, and I always do in the winter when
Hmm.
I mean the sun doesn't get up till after 9. So then it's a real issue. How do you deal with that? But right now it's easy. I As long as I get up and I get my coffee and I go outside, and I think it's a much better to go outside than to sit inside, even though it's light inside. I can go outside, and I think, like you said, Craig, it's much more beneficial. It may be somewhat beneficial to stay inside, but much more beneficial to be out in the real sun and the real daylight.
well, Andre, you could just reset your whole schedule. As the sun gets up later, just start your day later.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, well,
you do your
Yeah,
that's
sun 9 10, and then work from
change
there.
me by 2 hours or so in the winter.
that's sort of what I do because I don't bother getting up in the winter when it's cold. Why get up early and suffer the cold or have to put heating on when I can wait until the sun's up and it's the house is comfortable?
That screws with my training schedule, but otherwise, I agree with you all.
Mhm.
And push your schedule 2 hours. I mean,
It's good.
historically, mankind worked around the light. Didn't have
Yeah.
artificial light. So
Amen.
I'm sure in the winter they got up later, and in the summer they got up earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the author did say within 90 minutes of waking. So, you wouldn't
Okay.
have to wake up and immediately go outside. You could do it within 90
Oh,
minutes,
I didn't catch
I
that
I
part.
I think it is much better. The sooner the better, though, I think.
probably. Yeah.
Oh, totally. The sooner the better. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next on the list, increase dietary protein. I do that on days I work out, lift weights. Anyway, I'm curious what you guys do, if anything.
Well, I eat a lot less now than I ever ate. So, but I always ate protein rich. For me, a halfway decent meal was a barbecued steak or barbecued meat, and if I had something else, that was perfectly okay in my world.
Yeah, I think we're all carnivores, so yeah, that I don't think protein's been too much of a problem for me. Um, and that's readily available in most of our diets, so it helps stave off sarcopenia, just shrinking muscles and strength. We don't want that, so all right. Well, then let's move on then. And this one's more difficult. Facilitate deep sleep to allow for cell repair and avoid late Alzheimer's. No late meals. Room temperature below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Although that was interesting. And the morning, I wrote down morning walks, but I might have meant the sunlight exposure. But those help with sleep.
Yeah, I think he made a mention that doing that morning thing
Hmm.
also helps the deep sleep.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I think generally in the West we're often cavalier about sleep. Um, no, I don't sleep them. I'll sleep when I die, that kind of thing. And it's really important and for the health. And I've tried to prioritize more, but don't always, I'm not always successful. But it is
I, I do
something.
find I do find trading is not helpful for good sleep. You keep
No.
waking up and checking your trades.
I do turn off Trading View, which is my chart program. I turn it off in the evening, and but I know with what we were talking about earlier, with Craig being in New Zealand and trading on the American markets at what 1 in the morning or something, or
Yeah, and in the winter it starts at I think it's 1, and in the summer it's 3 or something like
mm,
that. 3 a.m. Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna mess with your sleep. But matter of priorities. Okay, I'm not sure if there's a whole lot we can say about sleep. So let's move on to loss of fast twitch muscle, which you need for, I wrote down explosive movement, but it's also for balance and fall recovery. One of the reasons that older people tend to have falls that are disabling is they've lost this type of muscle, which allows you to move quickly to protect yourself if you do fall. I find myself, um, I've got to pay attention to my surroundings a lot more than I did when I was younger, just to avoid tripping and falling and freaking out my loved ones because I had a stroke a couple years ago, and so this one kind of caught my attention. But training with weights with an element of speed and compound movements is the best way to address this, which I've been doing. So I feel like I'm addressing it. Anybody else have anything to say on this one?
I spend more time doing exercises that include balance, like
Me too.
on one foot and that kind of stuff. And
Mm,
when I started, I realized my balance was starting to go, so it's gotten much better now.
good.
But
Glad to hear it.
something, but I don't know, fast twitch. When I was in the mainland, I went to stop to visit my nephew, who's a boxer, and uh, talk about twitch muscles. I mean, watching him hit the bag is shocking to me that anything could move that fast.
Well, if he keeps that training up his whole life, he'll be in good shape. But
Well, he's pushing 60 now, and he's still going good. He's training younger kids, but it was
okay.
just good to see. I guess I've never been that close. I'm not a bar fight kind of guy, so
Hmm.
um, it was just to see how fast the body can actually move when that's what you train it to do was amazing.
Yeah. If you keep up the training, it's amazing what you can maintain into your 60s, 70s, 80s even. So
Yeah.
thanks
Well,
for sharing that.
I just turned 60, and my wife and I just got a vibration plate that we're using every day, and it has the three phases, so it vibrates left, right, up, and down, and whatnot. And I guess it's supposed to be good for balance and stuff like that. So it's just been good. We just had it for a couple of months now, and I like it. I mean, it certainly gives me more energy and wakes me up. I use it in the morning, and it wakes me up and gives me good energy, and it's supposed to help with balance. Well, hopefully, it does over the long haul. You
I
know,
never heard of it.
Yeah,
Explain what
vibration plate.
it is.
Do you stand on it, sit on it? How does that work?
you stand on it. It's called a Life. The brand I got is a Life
Hmm.
Pro vibration plate. So yeah, and it vibrates side to side and up and down, and you can do weights and exercises while standing on it, and it's supposed to help you burn, not just burn calories, but help you with balance and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been good. I like
All
it.
right. Good stuff. Okay. And then the last one on the list, we talked about it a little bit already. Biology of social connection. Loneliness is dangerous, similar to smoking 15 cigarettes per day. And I'd heard that before and always thought it was like, I don't know, seems, I don't know. I don't know about that, but I've heard this from different sources now, so maybe there's something to it. Part of the motivation of starting this group was to avoid that kind of thing for us. And if we have, at least once a week where we can meet and be social, that would be a good thing. Um, I've been thinking of bothering you guys during the week too with stuff that comes up. So you might be hearing from me more often based on this suggestion. Um, but yeah, maintain your networks, family. It's all important. Anyone have anything else to add on being social?
Nope.
Well, I think we know the importance of it, or we probably wouldn't be on this group. So,
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, I mean, other than, the training group I'm involved in and um, sort of the friends that I have, but the other big thing is like the volunteer network that I have. So
ah,
if you volunteer, you got a whole other different kind of social network that you can grab from that. And it's just I find it's like healthy for me because I'm an introvert. I don't generally like these kinds of groups that we're on right now. I hate to say it,
Uh-huh.
but I don't like, I have to make an effort to meet with people. I have to because I know that's not me. I have to make an effort otherwise. And if I don't do it, it's not good for me because I can fall into depression and stuff like that. But if I'm part of a group with a purpose, like on Wednesday nights, we go out and we deliver furniture to people who have nothing. And man, is that rewarding.
That's
Man.
awesome.
Yeah. I mean, just because, I mean, so the church provides stuff and we get donations of stuff and between what is provided and the donations and stuff, and we get to go out and give that stuff away. How blessed am I to be able to give stuff away to people who are much less fortunate than me? And so I do that. And it's not just, the people that I give stuff away to, but it's the team that I'm involved with who get to do that with me together. And that is, maybe it's just once a week. It's not a big deal, but man, it's so rewarding. And I really look forward to that every Wednesday night. And so I think, I mean, I thought of social involvement when you said that. That is the epitome of social involvement. So, I mean, it's not a big deal in my life. It's just a 3 hours a week, but it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. So I set that time aside to make a point of doing that, and I hate to miss it because it rewards me more than I give back. I mean, people think, well, it's so good for you to do that. Well, I think no, it's doesn't matter. It's not good for me to do that. It's good for me. I know it's good for me. I have to do it just for my own well-being.
That's a great example, Andre. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, mhm.
I I had a friend who's the same age as me, so he's 71-ish, and he lives in a smaller town, and he joined a church. Now he's not religious at all. Well, I don't think he's religious. He might have become religious, but he started going to church because of the social elements that church provides. Not just the Sunday service, but the coffee afterwards and the weekly meetings and all those sort of things. And he gets his social interaction out of those groups. He does it, or he used to do a bit of service as well. He used to be in a group that cooked meals for people that needed them. I think it was once a week. They'd put on like a community free meal for anyone that wanted it. It wasn't so much for homeless and so on. It was just anyone in the community that wanted it, and that also provided the social contact. But church groups like churches can provide that social content um, connection when you don't have other opportunities to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and those groups are really helpful for this purpose. Thanks for sharing. All right. Well, um, Paul, did you have something?
Nope, nope,
No.
I'm the outlier. I'm mostly antisocial. I'm very happy sitting at home by myself. Uh, Normally, we have my building's built around a big pool. It has a bar, and most every evening there's a whole group of people, and I haven't been down there in a month, and
Hmm.
I was thinking about. I've been thinking about. I don't know. I should go down. And I'm saying, it's the same old bullshit. So no,
So Paul is resisting this.
I'm resisting. You know, it's raining out. So I mean, if it was nice, if the weather was nice, I would probably go down. But then I got to get out my raincoat and then walk through the rain to get there. And you know, I never really did very well in talking with men.
Hmm.
when when I was younger and we would have parties and stuff, I would usually hang out with the women. Their discussions were much more interesting. Men are all about sports and women and money, and which I never found that all to be that interesting generally. I mean, I come here because you guys have different perspectives from your different parts of the world and different stages of life than I am, and so I find this more interesting. But um,
I don't
yeah,
know, Paul. You're just like the gossip, hey?
something uh, out of. But plus, I grew up in a house full of women. I had my mother, my grandmother, five older sisters, and it was my father was at work and me. So
Hmm.
it's sort of what I grew up with. And I was never any good at sports, and I was never much of a chaser. I was pretty um, mono. One woman at a time relationships, long term basically. So I really didn't fit into a lot of the discussions. I didn't have much to contribute to. Here I can contribute the mistakes of my 80 years. So I figure at least I have something worthwhile to share. And which brings me back to one other point about trading. Don't forget to put in your stop losses. I've lost a lot of money over the years. Put in a stop.
All right.
So
Social and trading advice from Paul. Good stuff. Okay, well, I think we can wrap that video review up with that, and I've got a couple other topics here. Um, One is, I think it was I got a suggestion and a message from someone outside the group, I think, maybe it was in the group, about how to organize this meeting a little differently. So I might bring that up later in the week. But part of it would be having each of us talk about what's going on in our lives, which I think sounds like a pretty good idea. Um, but maybe we don't want to be that personal yet. I don't know. So throwing that out. Uh, I wrote a note from last week, levels of friendship. And I'm not sure who volunteered that or what that was about. Um, and then something involving Kevin, but he's not with us yet today. Did I tell the story? I think this is funny about Gina, my girl, and Yak Yak Yak.
No.
I, I don't think so because it occurred after our meeting last week. So, um, I've teased my Thai girlfriend almost since I've known her that she'll get on the phone with her friends and just talk and talk and talk. And I go, "Oh, you're on the phone again? Yak 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 yak." Make a face or swing at me or something. So I've
Does
been
she
teasing her.
understand what that means?
She does. Well, or she knows
She does now.
she knows I'm teasing her. So, um, anyway, so last week after our call, we were actually in Hua, I think in Hua Hin when I did this call, and and it went a little long, went a little over an hour. And she said, um, "What were you doing on the computer?" And I said, "Well, I've got a men's group now, and we get together once a week and talk about issues and things like that." She goes, "Oh, so CJ on computer, yak yak yak." So yeah, I think she knew what it meant, but yeah, this is my
That's
yak yak
funny.
yak time. I thought that was pretty funny.
That is really funny.
All
I've
right.
got a update from Mike Fisher.
Okay.
So he's been in the Maldives,
Hmm.
and I think he's on his way home now. So um, the trip's over. Had a great time. I'm sure he'll update us with details next week.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I think I talked a little bit about my trip last week, but we went to Satahip, Thailand to visit Gina's mom. So we were there for a few days, and that was interesting. Um, she has a social network with an evening market of vendors, sell mostly food, but some, merchandise as well. And they were walking me around, meeting people. Um, so I wasn't sure what the purpose of
Show
that was, if they're showing me off or if
Oh yes.
uh, that's
absolutely.
that's what how I wanted to interpret it. Another thing might be just look at this weirdo we have here. Are you entertained by him? I don't know, but I do feel, it doesn't bother me. I kind of like it, but in this part of the world, I'm practically a
You're the
monster
celebrity.
slash
Hey, the
celebrity.
celebrity.
I'm a
Yeah.
monster or a celebrity. And then we went from there to Hua Hin. I visited someone I've tried to get on this call, but I don't think it gets up this early. John and his girlfriend, Belle, and they were delightful hosts, showed us all over the town. And if you follow me on any social media, you can see pictures from that. But that was a really good time. And Gina and I had a great time there. So I'd like to move to Hua Hin, but she's kind of connected to this part of Thailand for now. So we'll see if that happens. But if you have a chance to vacation there, and I'd recommend it. So
One
good
day
stuff.
could be. Yep.
Yeah, it was one of the things we did was went to the 27th floor of the Holiday Inn skyscraper overlooking the beach and the whole city. And then it had a plexiglass clear walkway out over, the property. And so we went on that and were nervous about,
Oh
looking
man,
through
I
and being
could
up
never
that
do.
tall. Yeah, if you're afraid of heights, that's kind of terrifying, but
Hmm.
I actually enjoyed it.
It's interesting because it's perfectly safe, but your body and your mind and everything tells you it's not.
That's right.
Yep. Yep.
But it's typically made in China by the low bidder.
Now that's something I'm glad I heard after the fact. So, ain't
Good
trying to be the
one,
lowest
Paul.
bidder. Okay, I'll just make sure I hang on to the rail or something. Um, but that was pretty cool to be up there and take pictures with my friends and look down at all the people milling around below. You know, how far did that be? 250 meters, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So good times
So,
there. And that's oh, okay. I wrote down it was actually came up during our pre-call, and this is also regarding the levels of friendship. I think it's good to have mentors. And I something I've resisted also thinking I don't need that woo-woo stuff. It's nonsense. But having a mentor generally in life or even for a specific purpose, like Andre was talking about trading, um, is valuable. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Anyone? Anyone?
Yeah, it would be nice if you can find one, you know.
Hmm.
Sort of been so far out on the fringe most of my life. I haven't really found. I have, like four really, really, really good friends. But as for mentors, I don't know.
And how do you define mentor? Is that someone who just has more knowledge than you on a specific topic, or older, more experienced? How do we define that? I don't know.
Yeah,
Someone
and I
that
think of it
someone
as
that
something
can
who's
motivate you and just discuss things through with you in a way that maybe enlighten you in such a way of thinking a way that you wouldn't have thought normally. Like you think of a business mentor, they
Hmm.
they open up your eyes to what's important, what you should be doing, which you're not necessarily doing. Um, just challenge your thinking about certain things.
Yeah, I think of it as somebody who can teach me things. I had one when I was younger. It was actually interesting. We owned a building in Manhattan and a bar, and one of the tenants was a couple, a guy who designed toys, and his wife was British, and he made these really interesting toys, and there was a thing of zoetrope, which is uh, a it's like a lampshade that sat on a pivot that had slits in it, and you put drawings inside and spun it, and it moved. So it was like the very beginning of moving pictures. So um, I got in the habit of going over there and then helping them with their business, packing stuff, and they were all hand painted. All the drawings were hand painted, and years later, when I was probably in my 50s or 60s, I guess, I was able to reconnect with them. I found some contact information from them in my mother's papers after she died. And I called him up and I went to see him, and he was still doing much the same. And I realized, I told him I realized how much they had changed my life. Um, and how important it was to me because they were the first people I ever met that broke out of the mold. They were self employed, doing artsy stuff, um, completely anti establishment. That was back in the first days of hippies, and I guess they were precursors to that, probably beatniks. Um, but I realized that they taught me you don't have to follow the trail. You can do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, and be successful without going to the big business, corporate life. And that shaped my entire life. I met them when I was like 18 or 19, and I dropped out of college. And I was really glad. I think he's dead now. I haven't heard from them in a long time, but they were pushing 90. Um, and I was glad that was able to spend some time with them. I went to visit them, and he was probably the foremost collector of Mickey Mouse memorabilia in the world. And he had set up this most amazing museum type displays in his house. Um, and he said, I spent most of my life collecting it, and most of the money I've made in buying this stuff, and now nobody else wants it. Um, Disney won't touch it because he also um, collected a couple of other figures. Um, Mighty Mouse and Betty Boop and a few other things. But by and large, the whole collection was all Disney. But the main guy from Disney was uh, completely insulted by the fact that he would even bother to collect anything but Disney, and therefore wrote him off and would have no connection with him or discussions with him at all. And there was no other place in the world. Museums were interested if he had $1 million to donate to maintain the collection.
Hmm.
But other than that, I don't know what happened to them. I sent a couple of emails that weren't returned, and so I guess they probably died by now.
Hmm.
But
Well,
that's
I like
probably the
I
best
like the
I
beginning of
ever.
that story as far as them being an example of walking your own path. The end sounds a little sad, but thanks for sharing that, Paul. Did I cut you off? Did you have more to say or?
No, but really, that's how everybody ends. If you're a collector, if you've collected stuff, I mean, I have original artwork and stuff I've collected, and years ago, I made a CD with pictures of all my stuff, and I gave it to all of my nephews and my niece and family. And I said, no sense waiting till I die. If there's anything here that anybody wants, let me know. And I think maybe 3 out of the 15 picked something, and all of that stuff is sitting in my house in Miami, waiting for me to die, and then it'll probably go to the dumpster or Goodwill.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing with collecting stuff, isn't it? Like
Hmm.
sometimes there's a prime time to actually cash in on your collection if you're doing it for that reason, because sometimes you can go past that time and then it's worth nothing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I always collected just basically for because I liked it or it was friends'
Yeah,
artwork.
that's a little bit different than yeah, collecting Disney stuff or collecting McDonald's toys or whatever can have a or action figures or whatnot can have a financial return at the end of the day, but their time can pass as well.
Yeah, but sometimes you think how much money you spent on stuff. Some
Oh,
pieces what like handmade rugs and stuff that were fairly expensive and really high quality, but nobody else really it doesn't really fit in my house or whatever. Nobody else. I look at the money that I put into it, but it's really valueless to most everybody else unless you happen to upon that one odd person.
Hmm.
And I
mm,
think you're going to find that as you get older and decide to, you know, unload some of your life's collections, that really nobody wants your stuff.
Yeah, I found that
yeah,
out
it just
recently.
becomes junk.
Yeah. Yeah, when I cleared out my storage locker in Arizona, I found out how little my stuff was worth. That was
Exactly.
humbling.
Yeah.
And I ended up giving
Yeah.
most of it away, or having the junk collectors take it away. So I had to pay to get rid of it even. So
Didn't even
uh,
cover the cost of the storage.
no,
Exactly.
that's the decision I had to make. Look, this is $100 a month. This stuff isn't worth, you know, 1,200, 2,400 anyway, if I keep this for a year or two. So let's get rid of it now. And I
And
offered it all to my daughter. She's like, no, I think she took one painting or something, and that was about it. But
tens of thousands of dollars to storage
hmm,
for stuff ultimately wound up just dumping.
yep, yep. Well, let's wrap up the recorded portion of this. We're on about 50 minutes now, so um, if you're watching on the recording, I'm glad you're doing that, but we'd much rather see you live. So try to join us on a Thursday night / Friday morning, and contact myself or one of the other members for the link, and we'll see you then. Have a good week.